it's very difficult for anyone to, like, if it is like base skating, if you are not good at skating, you can't play the sport for sure. We used to, like, I used to study from Google. I used to go around, check products, what are the right products to play our sport. Like, most of the sports are not commercially viable for any Indian to play. There is no salary structure, there is nothing that actually is there like you have in a corporate structure for every single educational role that you play.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Coach Talk. Today I have a very special guest, Aditya Ganeshwade, who is 4 times world champion in rollerball game, at the same time Arjuna award nominee. With a blend of sports, his grit and his determination, he has achieved his peak in his sports at a very great level. At the same time have represented India to an international level as well. Plus building a brand called Ethnics, at the same time being an athlete to his entrepreneur journey was a great determination which he achieved at a very younger age. So welcome to my show once again, sir.
Thank you so much.
So welcome to my channel, Aditya sir, once again. So let's jump on to the segment wherein what exactly drew you into the role ball. Plus, can you share the movement in your career when you were at your peak, and how do you manage those mental pressure as you were being a captain of that sport? Okay, which was a very niche sport. Can you elaborate regarding this pointers?
So yes, basically when I started, the base was skating basically.
Okay.
So when I was in, like, in my senior KG or the first standard, I
Wow.
started with my roller sports career basically. Not that was not the direction. It was just to enjoy and maybe probably drain out the energy. Is
Okay.
what my parents said. Like, we made you go in roller sports because of that. And when I was competing in speed skating, with probably like around 2 3 years of time, when I actually got to learn, like by the standard of fourth or fifth,
Okay.
I came across this sport which was started by one of Indian coach earlier, and it
Okay.
is one of the sport that is considered to be the most fastest growing sport in the world.
Okay.
With, like, there are around 52 countries right now playing in that sport, and
Right.
when I actually saw that sport being played around in the same facility, because roller sport what happens is when there is a world championship, all the 10 or 11 sports that come under roller sports are played under the similar, in the same area or the same facility. It is created like a Olympic village basically.
Wow.
So it's on the similar ground, like you have all the roller sports matches going on in the same area, same vicinity, and you can just go around every sport, see everything around. It's a similar thing that happens every year. And when I came across this sport, it was very fascinating for me because the game was too fast. It included a lot of different movements. Like, you already are on skates and you're also controlling the ball. It's like controlling two different motions, and it's very difficult for anyone to, like, if it is like base skating. If you are not good at skating, you can't play the sport for sure. So
Okay.
you need to be good with your skating first, and then focus on the goal. Or probably if you just keep watching your legs where your skates are taking you, then you can't play the sport at all. So
Okay.
technically you will have, like, you have to control both the sides of it. You have to have the focus on the goal. You have to control your legs and directions at the
Okay.
same time. It's a artificial
Multiple
thing, yeah. So
combination.
it's like you have a two different motions to control on.
Yeah.
And also the technicalities in the sport, like the ball is of a bigger size, which makes it difficult for you to control it in the hand as well. So
Okay.
even if you are trying to give a fake or something like that, you can't actually give a fake because the ball cannot be gripped on your hand, single
Wow.
hand.
Yeah.
So there are very detailed technicalities in the sport which makes it more complicated, more difficult to play. And that is where I got attracted to it, and I
Okay.
started playing the sport by requesting one of the coach that if I could get a chance to play. And I started off as a goalkeeper.
Acha.
Yeah. So when I was a goalkeeper and I was competing in one of a district championship, that
Yes.
time we were playing in a final with one of the club in Pune, and we were like 3 goals down.
Okay.
And it was about to start with the second half, and I requested the coach, like, if I could get a chance to play as a forward player for some time, because we had a substitute goalkeeper as well.
Yes.
So he said, like, let's give it a try. Like, it's already 3 goals to down, and we can have a variation and check how things can go
Things go
around.
on.
So I started playing as a forward in the second half. I scored 5 goals. We
One
5-3 in the finals. So
That's what
that is where I started playing as a forward player. The game completely changed for me. But that was an advantage I feel, because playing as a keeper, you could you could see the whole game happening. What are the gaps? What are the mistakes the defender do? What are the shots that like the attackers usually try and take in a certain motion or direction? Because when you are in a certain motion, you leave a ball in that flow, is very difficult for anyone to even understand where the ball can travel, because
Okay.
you are not static and you are not taking a shot standing, and the ball is not going to. So you stand and you take a shot of either right or left. I can at least judge the direction and close down on the angles to reach the ball faster. But when you are in a motion, it's difficult for anyone to understand where the ball is going to go.
Okay.
So you already are in a particular speed, like around 20-30 kilometers per hour. If you're running down the D and someone suddenly throws the ball
Ball
down.
to
While on the feet in football, you don't have that high speed, but on skates, you usually have that speed.
yes.
So it's difficult. So being as a keeper, I could understand all of it.
And
And
that's amazing.
that may help me be a better attacker as well.
Good, yeah.
So from
Nice.
there, I started playing, and probably in 3 to 4 years, when I was in a junior team, like under 14, the federation made me play in the senior team.
Wow.
So by the time I was in 10th, I played my first international for the Indian team in senior category.
And that's amazing, sir.
So
That's
that
really
is
wonderful.
where everything started. Like, it was all in the time frame of 4 to 5 years. With all these things started gearing up all together. I played multiple sports at the same time. Like taekwondo, I was there as a black belt also. I
Yes, sir.
competed in wushu. I competed in the at state level for that sport as well. But when I got into the Indian team, I stopped playing other sport and focused on this
Focused on
sport.
one
Yeah.
sport only. That's great, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aditya, sir, like you mentioned, you drive yourself into role ball sport. Okay, that was really great understanding by you. At the same time, you encourage that sport really well. But what matters the most? Key, what exactly were the missing factors? Okay, during your phase, and how did you overcome those factors? And what exactly makes you feel that the current situation is there in the sport?
So basically, I feel there are two very ground level factors that are probably the most important to any sport, not just volleyball. One is the infrastructure availability for every locality that is there. So like considering the growth of density and the population in every city or districts, it is getting much denser and much difficult to move out and travel to facilities. As I feel I was blessed to have a facility very close to my house, like
Okay.
barely like 100 meters walking from my house, which made me play a sport, because it was easy for me to travel, it was easy for me to commute and play it. Similarly, second thing is the science behind every sport was something missing that time. It was
Okay.
more about how to, if that is an endurance sport, you have to be more about
Just
running,
run.
more about pushing yourself to
Okay.
better endurance.
Okay.
Or it was more about track training and more about self body weight training. But
There was no specific knowledge,
correct,
okay, regarding fitness, what exactly must be the
right,
fitness for that sport. So
correct,
let's say you're sprinting, so you just have to sprint.
right.
Come what may, you just need to encourage your
Right.
endurance level.
So it was more about like that. So you don't know what muscle groups are going to be used. That was not the specific training that was happening for the sport. And sport being new, again, it was again different challenge even for the people to work on it.
Okay.
But now there are people who are working on the structure of everything, right from training, right from like game training as well as strength training. And the structure is much better right now for the longevity of the players to play the sport,
Okay.
because having so much of muscles being involved, right from like you have a 3 to 4 kg skates on your feet
Yeah.
to like 500 grams of ball, and the helmet is also around 450 grams. So
Okay.
technically you have a lot of weight on your head, you also have protectives on your body, you have to again travel faster, you have to keep braking around. So it's
Yes,
like
yes.
40 meters up and down shuttling for like 50 minutes of time. So there is a lot of endurance and strength that is required in different muscles or different parts of the body.
Okay.
So which is much structured right now, and even infrastructure is there for its particular sport as well. Now we have a facility in Banir,
Okay.
but still I stay in Kothurud, and the facilities in Banir, particularly for the sport, it is difficult for me to travel. Right now there is a couple of facilities in Kothurud, so we can travel and play there.
Right.
But having that
Facility nearby is
is
one of the
more
very,
important.
yeah,
Yeah,
very important. Plus, at the
yeah,
same time, understanding the science
correct,
behind that game, what
correct,
exactly are the muscles involved, or let's
correct.
say strengthening factor must be there, conditioning factor must be there, which wasn't there during your time.
Right,
But as the time has passed by, okay, these factors aren't missed; they are
right,
taken care really
right.
well.
and probably that has to be taken care, and it has to have a whole full-fledged system of it, like
Okay.
one coach, one strength and conditioning person, the right facility, the
Okay.
requirement of technical knowledge of using the equipments.
Okay.
So which was also probably one of the most missing factor, I feel. with
Acha.
with our time, we used to, like, I used to study from Google. I used to go around, check products, what are the right products to play our sport. So all these things are now in a better position because someone earlier started it, because the first batch of the sporting kids started doing it, understanding it, and then they started sharing over it. And now people or the players who are there are you getting access to those equipments, getting access to the right technical products to be used from the start. Because if we use the wrong skates, we might injure our knees, we might injure our shins, we might injure our lower back, which probably is one of the most important thing if you want to work on a sport for a very long time.
Okay. So, like you mentioned, sir, okay, there was lack of knowledge, there was lack of facilities, but the time has changed. Okay. But yet, my other question, I personally feel in my way, the youth talent is getting fetched really good medals in India. But as and when they approach to senior levels, our country aren't able to fetch that much amount of medals. So, what exactly is stopping them?
I probably feel like how it is getting data driven now, right now. Like you study the younger kids who is getting better at what sport, you start investing in those kids, and that is how the younger kids are getting medals right now. But I feel it has to be more having more scientific approach to developing that player or athlete towards his sport, to like where he should be by 35 years of age, where he should be by 38 years of age, or whatever. Like you just need to have that complete roadmap. If you want him to play for the next 20 years, what should be the operational process for him to even carry out for the sport, and which is, I feel, is not that scientifically developed, or we don't have that people who have that much of knowledge or understanding about things of every individual sport. There might be people who are there, but there are very few people who know how to guide such situations, or probably they are not that approachable, accessible for everyone.
Okay.
So after a point of time, if you get that access of, probably I feel we also got access after I played for international level. Like first
Right.
Indian team, when I got into the Indian, I got access to things which opened me to more understanding and knowledge about a part of sports, which was something I feel is late. But the because of which I started getting injuries also by the age of 25, by
Right.
26. It made my time difficult in the last 3 years of my sport because of
Definitely.
all the things. And I feel that is the major issue that happens with the Indian athletes, because towards the age of 30, which has to be the peak
Right.
of the body, is probably getting a situation where probably you might have to stop the sport.
Okay.
So in that case, I feel working on that particular kid or the athlete by the age of 16, right from the age of 8 to 16, is probably more critical. It should be more knowledging and understanding to that athlete also. If you open his eyes and in the right direction for in that particular patch or in those particular years of his life, probably it can take him for a very long time, which is
Okay.
missing right now.
Okay. So India is missing that part wherein
Yes.
youth are getting the
Yeah.
medals, but the basic understanding of that sport or that movement must be imbibed within that athlete at a very grassroots level so
Correct.
that he can or she can sustain for a very longer duration during their sporting career.
Probably we need to give them a graduational course for just the athlete to
Yes,
understand
yes.
what they should
Absolutely.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that should be the space where they actually have to be very cautious, very open to knowledging themselves. And probably that is also a very stiff age when you become, as like before
Yeah.
18, kids are also very much careless
Careless.
because they don't face certain issues. Even if
Yes.
they face injuries, they are recovering faster. That is also one side of it, and the other side is we need to create more people to the grassroots level to help more opening the more knowledge systems to all such players.
Okay, that's great, sir.
Yeah.
So, Aditya, sir, there is one of very curious question which I personally feel many of the parents they train their kids to play a specific sport only, but at a very younger age. What's your take on that part? Means, is it necessary that the kid must play? Let's take an example of badminton. He or she must be playing badminton throughout his life. Okay, or there should be a specific design, or let your kid be free to play any sport. Over a period of time, you must observe that kid and then derive or put that kid into a certain sport?
Yes, so basically, what my take on this is particularly putting your kids in sport by the age of 4 or 5 is probably the right age to let them try multiple sports at the same time. You shouldn't restrict your kid to play a single sport, at least at that age right now, because you don't know what exactly can his body do well in. Like he can be good at football, he can be good at a single individual sport, might be track and field, might
Okay.
be like a badminton or a tennis sport, because every sport requires a different skill set altogether. To understanding if that kid has a skill like which you can understand, sports is more about entertainment, I feel. When
Okay.
you see someone, you like someone playing, that is where the player is good, because he is having all those skills. You enjoy that skill performance sitting there, and that is where you will start understanding ki that particular kid is is good at that sport. So
Okay.
I feel giving them 3 to 4 years of time in trying multiple sports, and parents should sit down and like watch them and observe them from the outside, understand them. Like if you like your kid, play that sport. If you are entertained by sitting outside and watching your kid to play a certain sport, probably that is where he's having a good skill set of
Okay.
all the things that is required for a particular sport to grow in. And then you can start specializing them by the age of 8 or 9 probably. From there it can take a very faster growth step towards it, and 16 probably the player can be actually the best in the sport.
Okay. Okay. So it's like basically try multiple sport, observe it
Right.
carefully. Then you get a very interesting thing for a specific sport, and your kid can be imbibed to that sport.
Right.
That's
And it
what.
has multiple skills. Like if you need to make him play individual as well as a team sport.
Okay.
Because having a team sport, playing a team sport is altogether a different thing. Probably you need to have more understanding, more chemistry, more vision than a
Okay.
individual sport. Individual sports makes a different person, team sports makes a different person. So even how the
That
individual
also
has been
matters.
brought
Yeah.
up and how that kid can perform in all both the sides of the sport can be understood properly by him actually if you are doing something practically, that is the only way probably you understand things better. So
Yes.
putting them in both the situations, seeing how it can work for them or probably which thing is better for them, and then directing it more technically, more science backed, with a particular direction of right network and people to channelize them on it.
That's amazing, sir. So, Aditya, sir, you have played, you have represented the nation as well. Okay, but let's say now, let's move on to your business world. Like you mentioned, ki you are an entrepreneur as well. So, what exactly was the movement when you retired from your sport and you switch on to the entrepreneur career? What exactly was that journey?
Probably I was in a multiple thought process when I was actually playing the sport towards when I actually became the captain for the first time in the Indian team by 2017. That is where I started thinking about if I want to stay connected. So commercially the sports was not supporting at all.
Yeah,
Like most of the sports are not commercially viable for any Indian to play. There is no salary structure. There is nothing that actually is there like you have in a corporate structure for every single educational role that you play.
right.
But in sport, it is not yet there. Or probably it should be something which has to come into picture. Then only we will have a better
Sponsorship.
output in sports, or
Yeah,
probably much bigger output than any other country in the world if we get that structure, which was not there. Just liking the sport and playing the sport is not enough, or even if you are the at top of the sport, performing, playing at the best, making multiple records, it doesn't support you for a long term. You need to have that vision of what you would be doing after 5 years, 6 years down the line, at
yes,
least, even if
yes,
you are playing or even if you are not playing. So when I was playing in my peak, I started thinking about how can I be connected with the sport for a longer time, and probably doing a business in it, or probably doing something which is helping me connect with the sport is something I have to figure out now. So I started thinking of doing something in sport. I started my business with by 2018 only, when I
okay,
was playing, actually actively playing the sport. So I started getting dealerships of multiple European brands and started supplying the right performance equipments to players in India, which I studied, which I first thought about understanding the product and bought for myself while playing.
okay,
And then I started talking to the same brands, because being in the sport for a particular period of time, you have an understanding of what kind of players, what kind of densities are there for every sport and every athlete in every area of every corners of the city or the country. So if you are as a third person coming into any sport and trying to do a business is a difficult task, you don't have any understanding of the market. Even if you try and get the contacts, people don't entertain you
Yes.
because they don't know, they have not seen you in the sport. They don't have the trust factor even if you get the best of the product in the market
Okay.
as a third person. But when you have a sports background, the acceptance is much better at the initial level.
Okay.
So that is where I thought about, that was the understanding that I took for it. And I started working on trading and supplying the equipment. Then I got into sportswear to see how it can help me merchandise and market more of the situation or the
Situations.
products that I'm trying to build in the market. Then the third was, I got tired of B2B. Then I started again thinking of what should be the next direction for the brand, or probably something that I will like to do in the similar line. So I decided to get something into B2C area, which was a gym.
Right.
So it like you have in my own area, if I have a good network, I have been playing in the same like vicinity for a longer period of time. I know people more than anything in this area. So I started thinking of what building a gym with understanding of how we can cater something to athletes, which will create value and a facility that will support every individual for their fitness journey.
Okay.
So having a science-backed, data-driven systems in the gym that we have for athletes, programming them, we having a direction towards a certain period of time, considering the tournament, considering the injuries or anything what that might come around for athlete to be training on.
Okay.
Similarly, we started understanding and doing it for the personal training here. So
Okay.
that was a direction which we compiled together and created the space that can cater for both the things. So now it is growing, and this was the final product that I actually came out. But it took me 6 years to
Okay.
understand what I should be doing. So,
Okay. Okay.
but keep
Yeah.
doing or taking the risk is probably something that you have to do. If you keep thinking about doing something in business, probably in sport also, took me like 5 to 7 years to understand which sport I want to play.
Oh, yes.
So that was a practical journey of getting to a peak of a certain sport. Similarly, it is a similar way when you have a transition from sports to business or probably doing anything after sport. You need to take things on paper. You need to understand that market. You need to understand how it will be growing in the next 6 years, 10 years down the line in your own country, or if it is not, if you are interested in something and if it is not going to grow in India that fast, you can't be more emotional about it and keep doing it, because
Right.
at certain point of time it will burn you, it will make you more negative about what you do, and which is not right. Probably you need to be more practical about it.
Right. That's great, man. So, Aditya sir, like you mentioned, okay, in the previous segment, you need to understand the market really well. Okay, so you understood the market on your perspective, which took you about 6 to 7 years down the line. But once you get into that pattern, okay, you hit a brand. So, what was the name of that brand? Okay, plus at the same time, you being an athlete, so many of the parents they do have an approach here. In case my guy or a kid is gonna play the sport after 30s or 40s, what exactly will be the payment pattern for him or her? Okay, so what exactly struck you, and how exactly did you assure your parents? What was your mindset behind it, and how do you tackle that mental situations over there?
So basically, when I started getting into business and started building a brand, so decided to build a brand basically. Building a brand is more about raising a whole new kid, right
Yes,
from the start
grassroots level
to making him a successful thing
thing.
into a particular thing. And it comes with a lot of challenges. It is, you think about something, or even if you work on numbers, even if I had a market study of product or the situations, how the growth rate is going to be, by taking more research papers, studying on it, taking directions on what kind of numbers are growing and what kind of situations are there in the coming time for it. Even if you plan that, even if you study that, when you actually practically start moving, so it is something that will give you a clarity to start moving towards a direction. But when you start moving in the direction, you come across different challenges, which I will like to connect to a sport. When you play a match, every match is a different game. Every single situation that happens in the sport is different. It never repeats. So it's more about having that thought process or the mindset in yourself that you have to react in very short period of time. You have to take quicker decisions that you do in sport, which helps you build something by yourself, understanding the mistakes and not repeating them, and taking faster decisions towards whatever the problems and situations are coming, probably taking the right support and right people around you, creating the right ecosystem rather, being in the right circles is also something very important. Because if you are exhausted with the knowledge of people around you, or probably all of you are at the same similar level, there is nothing that can make you grow faster if you are spending time around in that situation or in those people. Or probably once you start getting into new circles and understanding people who have done much bigger and better than what you have,
Yes.
and if you start understanding them, and rather than just having an ego of I have my own brand, it should be more about learning from different areas, different situation, different people who have achieved different heights. Like probably someone who has not been growing your as good as you can also teach you something.
Right.
That is where you have to be open to as well. So
Yes.
being grounded, understanding things in different areas, in different segments probably can help you. So you have to be open to knowledge and keep changing your directions all the time. Taking risk is something which builds over the period of time. Like when you start playing initially, you have that much bigger fear factor in you while playing. Once
Yeah.
you play for a few years, you are much better to
Confident.
take decisions on the ground.
Yes. Yes.
Similarly, it is with when you change from sport to any business or a job. It will take a certain period of time. You have to be patient. You have to be having that positive mindset, I feel,
Okay.
because having the positivity in every negative situation can always make a better solution.
Okay. So regarding that part, okay, how did you tackle to your parents? Because you've been an athlete, plus for an athlete to get into this making a branding part or getting into the business, okay, that was a quite challenging for you.
Yeah, it was a difficult challenge for me. Like
Yes.
it was
How did
something.
you convince them?
So the first thing my dad told me, if you want to, so considering my family background, my dad has a business in engineering.
Okay.
So we are into hydraulic machineries. Like he has been a person who is completely into product development, designing, and mechanical side of it. Sporting something has never been his side at all.
Side at all.
So making him understand about to do a business in a sport was the first a bigger challenge, because he said like I don't know the area, I don't know the things, I don't know the situation. Either get things to me on paper, then I will consider if I can support you to at least get a start or understanding. Then when I started studying on it, I started making research, like doing the research. Probably that was something really helpful and guiding channel for me from my father, my uncle, my mom. Everyone said, like supported me, but they didn't directly support me. They
Yeah.
wanted me to do something
Do
first,
something.
understand it properly. If I am going in the right direction, just being in sport and emotionally wanting to be attached with it for a longer period of time is not going to be something that we will support, is what they also said.
Yes.
And that helped me rather push myself in understanding the practicalities outside the sport for the sport. And from there, when I actually presented a documentation of like what I want to do in the next 10 years, which changed probably after
Probably.
3 4
Yes.
years,
Yes.
but something started off with it.
Okay.
But that is, I feel, that is where the convincing part needs to be. You need to talk on paper as well as your efforts has to be seen. If you
Yes.
don't put in efforts, you don't put in the hardship, nothing is going to be easy for you, or probably people are not going to consider you. Someone will come and someone will do better. Whoever is doing working hard and smarter is going to come and take over you or go ahead of you, and you will
Yes.
keep talking about it and understanding about it at the same position. So I that was something that I learned, and probably that was something that I could convince my parent with, that the efforts that I was putting in to do something in sport after
Yes.
sport, and they saw it. Probably they thought I could do something out of it, and initially even commercially also they didn't support me. He said like
Okay.
you go to the banks,
Yeah.
you talk to them, understand how to take loans,
Yeah.
understand how to repay it,
Yes.
see if you can make those numbers in your plan.
Okay.
If you don't make those numbers, if you are taking that amount, what are you going to do?
Yes.
What should be the direction for it? So
A
having
backup
that,
plan must
yeah,
be there.
so we never have that clarity in our education.
Right.
In our education system, it doesn't teach you how to operate certain systems in business or nothing. Like I feel engineering, any of the education is more about just
Bookish knowledge.
technical,
Okay.
and then a business side.
Okay.
When you actually practically get into it, you need to understand, you start learning around it. So so that was something eye opener for me, like studying
Okay.
on these things and then starting a business and
Okay.
having that emotional side away from the sport.
So was one final question in just one liner I will be in need. Many of the athletes feel after 30 my career is over. What's your take on that part?
I feel it is not. I probably feel it is a much bigger scope for an athlete to do something ahead of the sport, because I feel the acceptance or the respect a player has while entering into any of the business is much bigger than anyone just coming with a degree. So they have to be open mentally to do something likingly and willingly towards a certain direction they want to go in, even if it might not be connected to a sport, but they want to do something in their own areas of liking after sport. They have to be good enough to showcase that what they have done and connect the same to what they want to do.
Okay.
That is something can take them a long way, and people will accept. And I feel whenever I also go in my family business work, I operate the factory right now, so I am doing two different things altogether right now. But in that also, when I go as an athlete, there is a much better acceptance than me going as a entrepreneur and sitting down and talking to someone from a very higher level in that particular business. Even if they might be very technical, we start talking about the sport, the person takes a complete different direction of understanding and gelling with you.
Okay. That's really great. So, Aditya sir, thank you so much for your valuable time. Also, speaking about much more regarding athlete life, how exactly he or she must be dealing with it, the transition phases as well. So, in case the public or the audience wants to reach to you, where can they find out to you?
So on my social media, basically Aditya Ganeshwade
Okay.
on Instagram, or even the sports page that we have, like the brand page, that is 8NX Sports or 8NX Studio, which is now located in two locations in Pune. One is in Kothurud and one is in Shaniwarpet. And three more locations are coming in by the end of the year.
Wow, that's great.
One in Baner, Kharadi and Wagholi.
Wagoli as well. So
We are
great.
coming into different concepts as well now in
Good, man.
fitness spaces.
So basically, the audience also all over the Pune, whosoever wants to connect with him can definitely reach out to Ethnic Studios as well. So myself, Pratik Patil, your host, signing off for the day. In case you want much more information regarding upcoming podcasts as well, do like, subscribe to my channel as well. Thank you.